Hey guys, it's Kayla. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you've watched some of my videos before. Today we're going to be filming my July TBR. I don't film TBR videos, but we're going to give it a shot. See what I can do with my life this month. I have been just winging it, just reading whatever I want, and it has been fun, but I also have been utilizing my library quite a bit, and so I think that I could potentially have a TBR for this month that I can stick to for the most part with a little bit of wiggle room, because that's just who I am. So let's just hop right into it. In case nobody has reminded you today, drink water, stay hydrated. Okay, so the first book on my TBR is going to be An Ember in the Ashes by Saba Tahir. This was my book club's pick for this month. Me and my friend have been just picking 4 books that we personally want to read, trying to pick diverse genres, diverse authors, representation from all across the board, and then we bring these 4 books to our Facebook page and have our members vote, and Ember in the Ashes is what won this month, because that's how voting works. So that's what we're going to be reading. I actually already have this in audio from my library, and so I'm probably going to pick that one up first this month, so it's kind of random that it's also first in my TBR for July. Okay, and then another book that I plan on reading this month is going to be Emma by Jane Austen. I know I've seen lots of people talking about Jane Austen July, and while I'm not joining in on all of the prompts and challenges for that, I do want to read another Jane Austen book. I try to read one a year, and because everyone else is planning on reading Jane Austen, I decided to jump on the bandwagon and just tack Emma on to my reading goals for July. And also I have the Audible original of it, and I read, I listened to Sense and Sensibility the same way. And it was really well acted out. Lots of different voice actors, lots of different background noises and stuff. Like in the market, you can hear horses neighing and shopkeepers yelling. And I just thought it was a really cool rendition of it. Especially if you're not used to reading classic novels, I think listening to these Audible versions of it can really increase your enjoyment of it. Okay, and now... okay, so I don't know if you guys do this or not. I've regularly been using the Overdrive app for my local library, and most of the books that I usually want to read have a wait list, so I get on the hold, and then, it'll give you an estimated time when that book will pop up and be available. And sometimes these books pop up a little too quick for my liking, because I generally am reading like 6 things when I put myself in the hold, and so I'm like, well, I've got like 2 to 3 weeks before this thing actually arrives, and then lo and behold, someone returns it as soon as they get it, and I have 6 books that I have to read in 10 days, and it is a race. It is quite the feat that you must accomplish when this happens to you, and I am going to be dealing with this right now. I have 2 libraries on my app, so I don't know why I do this to myself, but I just can't stop myself from putting myself on hold. So the books that I know for a fact are going to be popping up in July are The Poppy War. I have been listening to Jessie from The Bookish Mom rave about these books so much, and so I added myself to the list, and there was only a 2-week wait. I'm one of 1 person in line, and so I know that one's going to pop up in July, and I'm super excited about that one because I love a good military fantasy. I love a book that will make me cry. I know that the stakes in this are super high, and I want to read it. I just hear nothing but good things about it, and I need it in my life. Another book that will be popping up in the next 2 weeks is The Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan. Is that how you say it? I don't know how to say it. I've read it so many times. I don't think I've ever heard a human being say his last name out loud in my life. My son loves him, loves all of the Percy Jackson and offshoot series. There's so many of them, first of all, and I've never read them because it came after my time, I believe. I don't know exactly when the publishing date was, but I think I was either in high school. I think I might have been in high school when it came out. I just wasn't reading as much back then. I mostly read in elementary and middle school and a little bit in high school. But that's besides the point. I want to read this before the Disney show comes out. I'd really like to be able to enjoy it with him and discuss the differences in the show and the book and even the movie, which I don't think I've ever watched because I just haven't. But I'm excited to test this out. I don't read a lot of middle grade, so this is just all new to me. Next up, I have Furies of Caldron by Jim Butcher. This is the first book in the Codex Alera, and I have this already. It's already available, but you have 3 days to claim it. and then you have 10 days to read it once you claim it. So I'm finishing one book today, going to start Ember in the Ashes, get a day or so into that, and then collect Furies of Caldron from the library, so that way I have at least 7 days to finish it, because it's a 20-hour audio. But I picked this up because I listened to one of Brandon Sanderson's BYU lectures, and he mentioned, told Jim Butcher that authors need good ideas to write good books, basically. And Jim Butcher was like, no, any good author can be presented with bad ideas and create something great out of it. And that this book came from that conversation. Someone was like, okay, so take Pokemon and the Lost Roman Legion, and those are your ideas. And Jim Butcher created an entire fantasy series out of it, and that sounds fantastic to me. And also Brandon Sanderson, duh. So I have this on my list. I just got it in my book haul, and I am starting it, so very exciting. I'm buying a book, reading it immediately. It's almost like I'm a new person this year. Another book I have on hold is The Water Dancer by Ta-Nehisi Coates. I don't know how to say this either, but I believe this is a fantasy book, and it is written by a Black author, and I am very excited about it. I think it was an Oprah Book Club pick, maybe too. I don't really know much about it, to be quite honest. The cover is beautiful. I think it was a book of the month pick. I just keep hearing about it, and I want to know about it, and I think it's another one that will make me cry, so we will see. And then the last book I have on hold at the library is Before We Were Yours by Lisa Wingate. This is a memoir, I believe, or nonfiction, or historical fiction. I own this book. I'm trying to read the books on my shelves, okay? But I just don't have time to physically read them. And so, like I've said a million times, I've been going to my library, finding books that I physically own that are on my shelves, and then getting the audiobook. This book follows two children that are from an impoverished family. It's based on this scandal that surrounded an adoption agency that was essentially stealing poor children and then selling them to wealthy families, like through the agency. I don't know a whole lot about it. I know it takes place in like the late 1930s, early 1940s, and I just really like to learn about the world through books, and so that's one of the reasons I picked this book up. And I know, once again, it's gonna make me cry. Probably 50% of the books I read this month are gonna make me cry, but anyway, that's it's right here, Before We Were Yours. Another potential book for this month is Dominicana by Angie Cruz. This is a book I got from Book of the Month that I have not read yet, and I think it's pretty short and it's already available, so I didn't have to put it on hold. So if I have time this month, I may get to that one as well. I think it's like an 8-hour audio, which I can usually do in like 2 days, so we'll see. Okay, so I would also like to finish The Obelisk Gate by N.K. Jemisin. This is the second book in the Broken Earth trilogy, and I am already a quarter of the way through it, but because I own it through Audible, I keep reading my library loans first and then getting back to it and listening to it a little bit at a time. I really loved the first book. I'm still really intrigued by the second one. It's different. There's more point of view characters. I like the direction that I can see the book going. I still like how dark the world is, but you can see the growth of the characters from the previous book, and the audio is fantastic. If you have the chance to listen to it, the narrator, Robin Miles, she's so enchanting. I can't speak highly enough about the audio for it. Definitely pick it up. She has so much emotion. It's so good. And finally, July brings us to the end of The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson, the first book in the Stormlight Archive and the first book that we will be completing for Stormlight 2020. This is the only physical book I have on my roster this month, which is crazy to me because I used to barely read audiobooks and I'd fly through physical books, but now that I have 3 kids and it's summertime and I just don't have time to sit down and read all the time, I am doing this a lot. I just don't have time to read physically as much anymore. I have to get up really early or stay up late, and I don't really care for either of those options. I did get up early today and read because I have to finish 2 more chapters before July 2nd, and today's the 30th of June, and so I have to do that. And there's interludes. There's things I got to do, and I'm just sitting in front of the camera instead of reading my book, so you're welcome for making this, even though I don't know if I'll actually stick to this or not. For the most part, I do think this is a pretty solid TBR, though. I'm pretty sure I will get through at least my library books on this list in Way of Kings. The rest of them, we'll see, but at least the ones that I have on hold, and then maybe my Audible ones. So either way, weird video. I colored my hair. You can barely tell probably, except for the fact that you can not see my gray hair, and I don't have like 4 inches of roots anymore. Well, okay. I guess that is it. I'm gonna get out of here, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe if you would be so kind. Ring the bell if you would like to watch more of the content that I put out on the internet. I'm attempting to put out 2 videos a week, but right now we're pretty consistent at 1, so if you would like this type of inconsistent content in your life, you know what to do. I'll see you guys next time. Stay tuned, and there'll be more to come.